Alteori just made a new video, and it's about the PalWorld situation. I'm very excited to see this.
Everyone knows that for years, Nintendo has operated with this distinct kind of corporate invincibility.
Very
They got so
nice.
big for their britches that they've become essentially an untouchable titan of gaming
Yeah.
and have forgotten their roots to the point where they've become a company that is so quick to deploy their fleet of lawyers whenever anyone so much as looks at their intellectual property sideways. So when Nintendo launched a massive patent lawsuit against Pocket Pair, the developers for PalWorld, nobody was surprised. Everyone knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. And I was like, yep. Even though they haven't technically done anything, they took inspiration heavily.
Heavy
did
inspiration.
Nintendo when they came out, which everyone keeps forgetting for some reason, and also bending.
I remember Twitter that saw the similarities. A lot of them actually tagged Nintendo and like were begging them to sue PalWorld back then. So it was like it's so wild.
Backwards to excuse, and that's why Nintendo wasn't suing over the art assets or the character designs. They were going after fundamental gameplay mechanics, probably because they knew that this was a problem that was going to keep happening. They were like, if they could make a game like this that looks so much better than anything that we've
only
done,
Nintendo can throw a ball at a character and
then
catch
we're going to have to sue everybody and cut off all those heads of Hydra, and we can't afford that. It's not like we have the time to sit down and make our own creative games. No, we're old and washed up, and we can only rinse and repeat the same thing twice, 3 times, 600 times, and people will keep buying it. It's easy because there were no actual real competitors. But now, this actually looks damn good. It's actually flattering if Nintendo wants to sue you for your game, to be honest. So they started with specifically like the act of throwing an item at a monster to capture it in a 3D
blew up
space.
when it came back.
That was the thing that they were suing for, which is like, so many games do that even before PalWorld, and like this is their shtick, you know. They have done this to death for years and years and years at a time, just swinging their gavel dick around, thinking that they can't get anyone to not move out of their way if they so much as breathe on them wrong, and they can scare them. They're basically bullies. They've gotten to where they are by doing basically the same thing that every other game is doing. It's just that they replaced the games that they copied. So now that when people look for inspiration to build upon it, just like how Minecraft got big off of Infiniminer, Nintendo is like, no, we're going to pull the ladder up. We could do it, but you're not allowed to do it. So how about we just throw our lawyers at you? And too bad if something bad happens, like you lose all your money and we bleed you dry in court because we know you can't fight us because you're small and we're big.
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong.
Oh God, Matilda! That's such a nostalgia blast!
And there's nothing you can do about it.
But then here's the thing they never thought of. What happens
that hit so hard
when the bullied person fights back? And fights back hard. Nintendo went up to PalWorld like, oh crap, why are you not moving or running away from me? This is a problem. Now I don't know what to do with this. Lawyers, what's freaking happening? And just like that video, everyone's looking at this because they're like, shoot, all the students like, are they really gonna challenge Nintendo? So yeah, this time the legal steamroller hit a very big immovable brick wall, and the Japanese patent office itself apparently, like in a series of official notices, the JPO didn't just like reject Nintendo's freaking tantrum because they were trying to basically say like, yeah, you can't mount the monsters too, like there's certain elements that so many of their games have that Nintendo was just trying to freaking do away with, but the patent office shut it down with this level of what people are calling like bureaucratic sass, that legal experts were saying like, you know, oh, it's almost unheard of. Oh, in standard patent practice, like maybe they were doing it because they realized how annoying it is because Nintendo apparently kept doing it. If only they did that with bricks and minifigs, you know, but anyways, people were saying here, the article, the Japanese patent office has officially had enough of Nintendo rejecting a patent attached to the PalWorld lawsuit with rarely seen sass. For Nintendo patent tied to PalWorld lawsuit stays rejected as the JPO shuts down objections an unusually sharp-tongued notice. So for all of those that don't know, just a quick thing, they were up against PalWorld, right? I'm gonna say up against PalWorld because they lost. And the whole idea was for PalWorld to prove that throwing a ball to catch a creature wasn't a patentable like invention. Rather, the patent office was trying to do that, right? So the patent examiner basically cited like a 13-year-old YouTube video of Pokemon Generations, which was an official fan-made 3D indie project. I think this is the game that I was talking about, where they're like cease and desist when the guy was almost like fully done with it. So you can see here, the patent office cited an unofficial indie game, Pokemon Generations, in its rejection of Nintendo's ball throwing patent, leading to a back and forth argument between the two parties. Nintendo filed a petition against the rejection. The patent office is now reviewing its decision. Patent publication number 2026-077713. And yeah, I guess they got rejected. And Nintendo threw a tantrum about this. And they claimed that the Japanese patent office was being extremely inappropriate by citing a copyright infringing fan game to deny their patent. That felt like salt to me, honestly. So the point of the matter is that the examiner, from what I understand, like basically told Nintendo that copyright law has zero bearing on whether something is an original technical idea. And when Nintendo was complaining about the examiner using terms like, you know, Pikachu, Pokeball, when referring to a fan game, the examiner was like, okay, if it were impermissible to refer to character names, the notice would need to use cumbersome descriptions such as an object in the form of a small animal instead of a Pokemon, an object in the form of a boy wearing a red cap instead of Ash, an object in the form of a small yellow animal instead of Pikachu, and a spherical object with a red upper half and a white lower half instead of Pokeball. However, even with such rephrasing, the logical structure of the grounds for refusal remains unchanged. And the translation for that is, stop playing word games, your legal premise is stupid and ridiculous, your patent is rejected, goodbye. Just for that, you know what, get the frick out, we don't want to see you again. Done. And like all the legal comedy aside, all this serves to do is expose the really bitter truth about the modern form that Nintendo is in, which is actually kind of sad and pathetic. Because this tantrum that they're throwing makes them look so weak and desperate. It already makes them look weak and desperate to go after such small companies that are trying to offer some form of competition. I can understand if they outright like stole their stuff. Like they're like, you know what, toe for toe, we're gonna do this. But no, if Nintendo is allowed to also take inspiration from games, which is why it exists, and they build upon it, why are you forbidding other companies and studios from doing the same?
Now that the games are public, several members of the Fakemon community have
cute
complained that the
animation.
Paldean Pokédex rips off their hard work. One artist, Bulby Boy, noted striking similarities between Palafin and his own dolphin Pokemon, Dolphlate. Both look pretty close and even share a transformation-focused
Pretty much the
ability.
biggest thing.
Artist Diego Monsterlab drew a clear line between his pepper Pokemon Burniper and the final game's Scovillain. And they do seem pretty similar. Tarantula bears a strong resemblance to Weavara from the Adis region Fakemon project. Did Nintendo rip off these fan artists?
Like, think about it for a second. Think about the sheer amount of money and time and executive brain power, right? That Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are burning just on this freaking legal war. Millions, I'm talking millions and millions of dollars that are poured into these legal teams, which are not cheap, and the patent applications, the appeals, the time, and what is all of this for? So you can bully an indie studio that built a game that people actually enjoyed playing and was, oh my gosh, crazy enough, innovative in that it learned how to employ certain things to make a game interesting to play, to give the fans what they want, which you haven't done in an extraordinarily long time. Like, actually imagine, right? Imagine if you took those same millions of dollars and time and effort and invested them into, I know, it's crazy, actually making a better game. Imagine a modern Pokemon title with like really high fidelity graphics. I mean, something that looks pop.
Yeah, once you're basically on top, like some creators, they just kind of sit on it and they're like, oh, I don't have to do anything to improve. And you know what? No one's allowed to even get close to my level. So I'm like, yeah, flick them off the mountain while they just, you know, sit and get cozy on top, thinking that nothing will get past them. They're very egotistical.
Polished, playable, and dare I say it, really fun. Oh no. No. What's fun? Nintendo's now the head of HR. There's no fun to be had here.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
You can see what they...
Yeah, especially when Nintendo fans, or Pokemon fans, they try to create things to show Nintendo their appreciation of the products that Nintendo makes, and they say thank you by basically slapping them across the face with, copyright, lawsuit stuff. Just basically shitting on their fans. That's really sad.
Designed, and this is probably
okay. What I'm mentioning is that I think someone made some Mario cookies or Pokemon cookies, something like that. I saw a post like that on Twitter, and apparently Nintendo I don't know, went after them over some copyright stuff. I gotta look back at that to make sure I'm wording that right. But I did remember seeing that in real time. And that's really sad how they treat their fans.
what it actually looked like on their end when they made the game on a PC before they had to scale it down somehow for the Switch. So rather than trying to figure this out, they just took out anything in the game that would look bad in low resolution rather than fixing the resolution.
So yeah, as that guy says, instead of I don't know, working on what they have, making it better, they would rather litigate than to elevate themselves. And that's, I think, what the problem is with so many modern day corporations. They forget their humble beginnings. They forget the people who helped get them there. And then they try to step on the necks of everybody else. And you can only put up that fight for so long because everyone thinks is going to keep on growing around you. And the thing is, the harder they try to bully is the more people fight back. So now you're seeing this advent of monster capture games coming out the wazoo as if to all unify and say, to hell with you, the Pokemon Company and Nintendo. We're going to keep doing this because obviously you lost. So that's only good for us. And that's the thing people don't understand. The people were sticking up and bending over backwards to guzzle Nintendo's freaking cream. They don't understand that this is more than just PalWorld versus Nintendo. Let's just pick a fight and pick a team because we like fighting about everything.
Pick a team?
The stakes are so much higher than just two studios. Because if Nintendo had succeeded in locking down these broad patents for basic 3D aim to throw, capture, and mounting mechanics, it would have set this really terrifying precedent for the entire video game industry. Then imagine if Pokemon's you know what, now that we have nobody to compete against us, we're not gonna give you anything new and exciting.
Yeah.
Everyone knows, and this is the thing. It's like when the brother, I forgot what they're called, the Reaction Brothers tried to do the same thing and take down anyone who had the name React in their videos or something. That was crazy because when you consider the wider picture, game genres exist because developers build upon each other's ideas. That's what innovation is. That is what humanity is. Every good idea you could ever have. Trust me, I've been there and I'm like, this is a great idea. And then I look and it's already been made 6 times over or more. Imagine if ID Software patented the concept of aiming down a sight in first-person shooter, or imagine if From Software patented the dodge roll invincibility frame in the action RPGs, or if Rogue patented procedural generation. If corporations are allowed to patent these fundamental gameplay mechanics, guess what? You're not gonna get any new games. Why would developers even try at that point? If you have an idea and you're a small indie game developer, you wouldn't be able to make games without constantly fearing this lawsuit from multi-billion-dollar publishers that you know you can't fight against and you have no chance of ever winning. So yeah, at the end of the day, Nintendo needs to remember this very basic truth, right? No empire is too big to fail. You can hoard all the wealth in the industry. You can hold on to 30 years of nostalgia, and you can farm or a farm or whatever, a field of an army of lawyers. But if you turn your back on your fans and choose to fight your consumers instead of innovating for them, your empire is gonna fall. And the bigger you are, the harder you fall. Like, let's not forget,
that's with
you
any
make an enemy
company.
out of not just the consumers, but your opponents and would-be opponents as well. You don't need any more legal battles because you are bleeding money. Like, you still are making enough that it probably won't affect you right now. But what happens when that money, when PalWorld or something else, something might even dethrone PalWorld? PalWorld is not even at the top yet. They're just a threat. What happens when someone else comes out to rival PalWorld and Nintendo and you're old news and they start making merch and everything too? Then what? You're a game freak. But are you though? And some people are creative, not just with coming up with litigation or lawsuits.
More freak.
Get some actual creativity and bring the people that you lost back to your side, if that's even possible. But you got to put down your ego first.
This how I fly. This how I fly. Long burn, deep thrust. Watch the weak ones cry.
Very good video. Yeah, thank you again, Alteori. But yeah, Nintendo definitely needed that humbling and that wake up call.